Good day everyone, my name is Akmal Keysava, anthropology student of Airlangga University, Surabaya, and today I will be your speaker and your host in this presentation and meeting. So, what we are going to talk today is about a language, one that if you come from Indonesia, you might be familiar with this language. The one that has spread from the west part of the Java island at the Cirebon to the far east of the Java from at Banyuwangi, and spread from the south of Asia of Sri Lanka to the south of the America of Suriname. Yeah, we will talk about one and only the Javanese language. Yeah, so this language is widespread. We have enormous number of speakers, but we will not talk about that number. We will talk about its status, its states. To be honest, well said, the Japanese language is having a hard time. Why is that? So, maybe you who speak Japanese already aware of these issues. If you are as young as me, as old as me, you already knew that we are not that good at using the Krama, the Krama variety of the Japanese language. It's so hard. Have you ever thinking that someday this part of the languages might be extinct if we keep these trends up? In the study of this thing, the decline of Krama Javanese by the Sebelas Maret University at Surakarta, and this Surakarta, if you are Javanese, it's kind of central of the Krama languages. They have the most polite of this Javanese. I come from Surabaya, and it's harsh. They have the harsh variety of languages, Japanese language. But this part, this Surakarta, this town, have the most polite people who speak Japanese, and there we have the decline of the youth population who be able to speak this part of the languages properly. Yes, that study that occurred on 2006 to 2008 show that the young generation at the time have even very poorly understand how to use proper Japanese languages. This research used this following criteria: vocabulary competence with average score. Result is 36.45 or very poor standard. Yeah, it's hard to call. The capability of translating from Indonesia to Japanese with average score at 52.40 or very poor standard, and the capability to construct Japanese dialogue based on certain situation with average score of 36.21 or very poor standard. If you said it's an old study happening in 2008, there is older study that happened in 2019. It's very recently, and show some similar result. Kind of similar result, yeah. The young generation is still pretty much having same hard time in using proper Japanese languages, The indicator is they tend to use mixed code between different tiers of language to cover the unknowing, so they kind of mix up with when they not be able to speak properly Japanese, then they tend to use Indonesian or even English to cover the unknowing. And what the factor of this decline, to summarize from these two paper study: one, lack of guidance from the older generation in home or society to teach the younger how to use proper Japanese language. Two, lack of attention from the social environment to use proper Japanese, resulting to a lack of reason for the younger to use proper Japanese in daily basis. And schools are poorly taught younger generation of how to use proper Japanese, and the limited allocation time for Japanese language lecture, incompetence of the teacher, and lack of proper guidebook is worsening the education situation for the Japanese language. And to conclude this meeting, as for now, Japanese language, even though have massive, we know all of that, we have massive numbers of speakers, but in fact currently are in age of extinction. Okay. But there is something that we can do for helping the situation to not getting it more worsening. For all generations, don't hesitate to teach proper way to speaking the Japanese to the younger. Don't use the alibi of Japanese is relevant for modern time. For Indonesian government, central or local, please upgrade our education system to accommodate local language lecture more. And lastly, for younger generation, including myself, I personally know how hard it is to overcome the reason of using proper Japanese, but politeness of our language is correlated with how we maintain our moral standard. The more we lose our ability to use polite language, this Krama language, the more we near the danger of moral degradation. If you have any comment, question, or suggestion, feel free to say it out loud. And it's ending our video here. Thank you for coming. I'll see you